Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead Q&A video here. So first of all, thank you so much for posting all of your questions here. If you want to take part in these Q&As, definitely go and join the Discord. The server name is Appetite for the Dead. The link will be in the description of this video, but yeah, and also make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. Episode 5 is airing tomorrow, so yeah, I'll be doing a lot of videos on episode 5, and yeah, it looks like the next couple of episodes here are going to get really interesting, and I'm curious I'm looking forward to the last, I guess 4 episodes here of Dead City and seeing where the story goes. And yeah, let's get into the very first question here. So Q&A, watched the new episode, and I think Pearlie is finally coming around with Maggie. Do you think he's going to end up betraying the new Babylon group and possibly killing Lucia? I mean, maybe I could see that potentially happening, I guess, for the season, but it depends because Lucia, I think, has been really great on the show too, and she definitely plays a villain really well, and I think that having her around for season 3 would also be really awesome. I think that the first part will happen. I just don't know if Lucia will die, but, going away from New Babylon, I think could totally happen, and I think, yeah, being on Maggie's side of everything here, I think we're already starting to see that a lot, so I think that that's going to happen at some point here this season. Q&A. How do you think the confrontation with Maggie and Hershel is going to look like? She seemed to be in denial when Negan told him the info, but I know deep inside she knows that he is feeding Dama information. I'm curious as to how that is going to go, and the only thing I could really say is I feel like it's not going to be so, angry. I think that Maggie is going to try and understand him a little bit more, and, she'll be more upset, and she'll probably be crying in the scene and stuff, and trying to understand what's going on, and I think that he might not even really open up about it too much. I think he'll get into some stuff maybe, but I think it's going to be a lot of Maggie, I guess just understanding, okay, so he's doing this and that, and Hershel's not going to really say anything. And, I could definitely see Hershel becoming a villain and being on her side. That's something that we've talked about for a very long time now, right? Hershel was going to have a darker story, and I think that's the one thing, say the season ends and, Hershel ends up being, against Maggie. It's never going to be in the sense that he wants her dead or anything like that. I just think that when it comes to a lot of that, there's always just this, just because this person's a villain, now they want the other person dead because they're more the hero of the story, right? And that's not necessarily the case here. I think that, as we've seen on Dead City, there's a lot of gray area, right? And that's kind of what they're focusing on here is there's some people who believe in this and some people who believe in this, but they're all just kind of everywhere. It's not just one side versus the other. You have a lot of characters that can really go on either side. It really just depends on where their story is going. So I think for Hershel, it just makes sense because, again, I think Hershel's going to be wanting Maggie to be on, his side if he ends up being the villain by the end of the story. It's not going to be one of those things where he wants Maggie dead. There's no way. And that's the thing about Hershel as well. I think that that's just where his story is going to go. I think in the end, he's not going to be a villain at all. I think that he will end up, realizing a lot of stuff, but it's just he's going through a lot of things because Maggie never gave him the attention that he needed growing up and whatnot. He felt just very he was alone. And he's talked about that a lot now on the show. That's stuff I've talked about before the season started, but now that we've seen it, that's what it is, right? He feels alone in this world, and his mom just was never really there for him. And I think that that's the thing. Maggie is kind of realizing all of that right now. So I think that he's going to go through some stuff here. And that's what everyone in life goes through, right? Everyone who goes through that anyways feels like that. And then eventually you get older and you start to realize a lot of stuff that your parents did for you, right? So I think that that's just what is going to happen here. And, it's going to be a really interesting storyline. And I do wonder how things are going to play out. And just a lot of the other parts of the story here are going to get really interesting. So I'm excited about how that's going to go down. And I feel like in probably episode 6, we're going to learn a lot more information there between Maggie and Hershel on the whole thing there. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Q&A. I didn't really understood why Bruegel ended Tony's life. Was it because he got caught by Negan and wasn't really performing a good job, or what exactly? I think that he just got rid of him because it was just something that he wasn't going to be able to do anymore. I think he would have to find somebody else or just do something different. I think his goals have changed, and a lot of that is going to really be, I guess whatever he said to Bruegel, because that's the one thing too, is Bruegel learned something from Negan, right? And we don't know what it was. I felt when I watched the scene, it kind of seemed well, maybe he just called him out on the fact that his walker is not really a walker. But I actually think he probably said something that was very useful, where Bruegel's like, all right, I don't need to do this stuff anymore. We're going to be doing other things here with like methane and all of that, and take over this whole place here. And I wonder if Negan literally said, I'm on your side of this whole thing here, or something like that, because I don't know what he would have said that would have, really convinced them to do whatever. And I feel like that makes the most sense. If Negan was just like, I'm on your side or whatever, then Bruegel would have the confidence here to be like, all right, I don't need your methane or anything like that, because he's going to be working with him. And so he sort of has somebody on that side as well. And that's why I think in the end, Bruegel's going to have a lot of power here. And I think that the Croat and Dama are going to lose. That's kind of where I see the story ending, honestly, for season 2, is that they're going to lose because of Negan actually teaming up with Bruegel. And then we'll see where the story goes for season 3, but I think that's honestly how I see it all playing out here. I do think that he was like, I'm on your side kind of thing. So that's why I think Bruegel at the end was like, we don't need to be playing these Walker games anymore or anything like that. I have other things that I can do now kind of thing. So we'll have to wait and see. Q&A, do you think when Herschel briefly ran into Dama, he could have told/warned her that Negan betrayed and killed Croat's soldier? If so, do you see Bruegel betraying Negan to assist Dama somehow? Love the vids. Thank you so much. That's actually a really interesting point that you make there. I think that honestly, that makes a lot of sense, because why else would that scene happen? Like, yes, Dama heard that Herschel was around, and like, yeah, it makes sense to have a scene like that, but like, we never learned what they said or what information was said there. But if Dama literally, knows that Negan killed their soldiers, that would show that, okay, he's not really on their side. And so we'll see where things go here, but I do think that they could go against him here in the next couple of episodes, even in episode 5 when they go and meet with Christos, because I don't think the Croat trusts him at all. So that's a really interesting point there, actually. I do wonder if Herschel told Dama that. Like, that's honestly why I see the story playing out like the way that I sort of said in the previous question. I just feel like Negan and Bruegel, they're going to be on the same side, I think, by the end of the season, which I think is really incredible. Honestly, that's going to be really cool, but we'll have to wait and see. And it's kind of funny because Bruegel is a much bigger villain, right? So it's going to be really cool to see how that plays out. Q&A, do you think Dead City Season 4 will actually be the final season, or could you see us getting 5 or 6 seasons? If so, could this be the end of Negan's story? I know Maggie will probably continue on for at least a few more years, but could this be it for the Savior arc as a whole that started back in 2016? Love all you do, man. Thank you so much. So a few things there, I guess. I don't think it's going to be the end of either character's story. I think that when Dead City ends, there will be more story afterwards, but it's not going to be so much on their personal life and everything like that. It's going to be a lot on like the reunion with Rick and whatever that story is going to be. So I think Dead City is going to tell the story of everything from what happened with the Savior arc, from Glenn's death, and really wrap up all of that. So in terms of this show being only 4 seasons, I could see it for sure. Like, it really just depends, because I know the rumor right now is that they're filming back-to-back seasons this summer, so season 3 and 4, and season 4 could be the end, but it depends. It really does depend on a lot of different things. Like, I could see that, like, yeah, definitely being the case, but it's one of those things where, if season 4 all of a sudden the ratings get better, I know the ratings are dropping year after year. It's been happening with The Walking Dead since like season 5 or 6. Like, it's just going to be a thing that's going to keep happening forever and ever and ever. But then again, that's based off of cable ratings. We don't know what streaming numbers are like. And, they're going to eventually reunite all the characters anyways. It really is hard to say. Honestly, it's so hard to say. Like, season 5 and 6, I think could happen potentially. Like, it just really depends on all of the other shows on AMC as well. Like, The Walking Dead does really well for them. So I think that if The Walking Dead is doing really well and better than their other shows, they could just easily renew it for another season, right? So that's the thing. Like, they're not going to get rid of that show and then have other shows that are doing worse than The Walking Dead. Like, obviously have The Walking Dead, right? So that's kind of my only thing about it being like 5 or 6 seasons. Like, I could see it potentially happening because of that. But I think season 4 makes the most sense. And then after that, just reunite everyone, right? And then maybe you do a season or 2 of that. Or I don't know how that's going to go, because there's going to be other spinoffs and stuff too. So things are going to be kind of everywhere. But we'll have to wait and see. I think that Dead City could get really exciting here. But we'll just have to wait and see where things go here for season 3, because like right now people want more connections to The Walking Dead and stuff in general, and a lot more just of the world feeling a lot more exciting, right? And I think if they start doing that, there might not be a reason to end Dead City after 4 seasons. So we'll have to wait and see. Q&A. Do you think Dama and the Croat really have his family, or do you think they're just saying that to use him? I think they're just saying that. I honestly would be so shocked to see his family there. I'd be like, wait, what? Really? I just, because of the casting and stuff like that, like, I just don't know how a lot of that could work. Like, obviously it makes sense. You just get, you know, the same actress that played Annie in the very last season there of The Walking Dead. But I just feel like with the story and stuff and like how everything's been brought up, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe it could happen, for sure. I could totally see it happening, but I don't know. Right now, I don't believe it. Q&A. A while ago, it was rumored that Fear the Walking Dead Season 8 props were on the set of Dead City. I could be totally wrong. Do you think this hints at Dwight's appearance? Could we see the Sanctuary again on Dead City? Maybe Dwight and Sherry have been building their own group, and Season 2 of Dead City has been all about introducing different groups and introducing a bigger world. Yeah, all those rumors and stuff were really interesting. In terms of, like, props being there and whatnot on set, like, it's really honestly like it could have been one of those things where it's like, well, we have those props there, why don't we just use it here for the set, right? It depends on like what it was. So it's hard to say with that, but for Dwight returning, I think that it makes a lot of sense. Like, to have a Dwight appearance here in the finale, like a post-credit scene, makes so much sense. If it's going to be something for season 3, like, I don't know, but I just think that Dwight's story and just what we can see from The Walking Dead, like everything that has been, you know, just or hasn't been told since then could easily be told here in season 3 or season 4. I think that it would be a really just insane missed opportunity if The Walking Dead Dead City ends and Dwight never appeared at all and you never told that story there. There's such a huge story to be told there. A lot of people would watch. It would create so much excitement for The Walking Dead. You have to have him come back. Q&A, do you think we can get a New Babylon versus Commonwealth with the CRM against Bruegel, and we probably learned that maybe Bruegel is a spy in the last 2 episodes the reviewers didn't get to see? I don't know about that. I think stories like that could happen later. I just don't see that happening for season 3. I think any sort of like Major General Beale, you know, spy storyline is something that will be set up for the reunion story and getting into a lot of that. So by the time these shows are ending, we'll get into some of the story there. But I think as of right now, it's just kind of a lot to get into. And I think that there could be some references, but I just don't think it's actually going to be a big part of the story until all the characters are reuniting. And then you could have stuff like that where it's like the Commonwealth versus the CRM, although it won't be that. It could be honestly like, you know, a battle between CRM and like Bruegel and stuff. Like I could see the CRM, you know, obviously being against Bruegel for sure, but depends on Bruegel, I guess, and what his story is overall. Like, maybe he was a spy beforehand, and so there's like a revenge story, but I just don't see that. Honestly, I kind of seems like a lot. I think that, like, I could see Bruegel being a big part of the story going forward. He definitely, like, the response to him has been amazing, and I think that he could be a really amazing villain, but I would just say that, as of right now, it's kind of hard to say. Q&A, what do you think the CRM are doing while Dead City is going on? I think that they're probably just helping people right now. I think that that's pretty much that. Honestly, I think they're just like bringing resources to people, and that's it for the most part. Q&A, what do you think about the Madison and Alicia comment from Jeffrey Dean Morgan? Well, that happened a while ago, or yeah, it happened when Fear the Walking Dead ended, or maybe when season 7 ended, I think, actually. I think that it's one of those things where obviously it makes a lot of sense to have Alicia on Dead City. I think it would be really incredible. It's just really, do they want to do that? I think that having Dwight on the show makes a lot more sense, but we'll have to wait and see. I think that honestly, it's just one of those things where, yeah, obviously he would love it for the story to have those characters there. I think it would be amazing. I think it would be really incredible. I just think that we're going to have to wait for some time, though. I think that to see those characters again, I think it could happen. We'll just have to see, really. I think it's really just going to be, you know, based off of what happens with the current spinoffs and the story here and what Gimple has planned with other spinoffs and all that. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it here, though. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.